Good morning, UXers!
With a new microphone again.
Yeah, again, and it's working, still working, and will working for it forever.
I hope so.
Yeah.
But don't touch in your microphone, please. No, don't do that. Well, my friend, today we have a new guest, a new subject with a new
Yeah.
content and a new book.
Yes.
Yes, right?
Really a new book.
Yeah.
Really a new book.
Really a new book because
I don't know when we will
launch the
launch
video.
this,
Yeah.
but now when we record this
now we are
bookcast,
recording. The author, our guest, told us
the 2 weeks.
they
I
have
suppose.
2
3
weeks.
weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
Well,
fresh.
when I asked them about this invitation, this is recording, the book was finishing, not
Oh,
finished
it's
yet.
not okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The book was not finished.
and I think the book's subject it is very interesting to talk about.
Yeah,
And
because can be misunderstood, I suppose.
about
Yeah,
misunderstood about
yeah,
this the title, the content. Okay, I see.
yeah.
And our guest, I think, has a great experience, right?
Yes, yeah, huge background.
Yeah, they work in different companies, with huge
Big
companies,
companies, big tech companies.
big tech companies, and academic background.
Yes.
Amazing academic background. So I think our guest
and
could bring
kind of
something.
content.
Huh?
Who has a kind of content about academic and the industry? Who?
DesignTeam.
Yeah.
Here. Yeah, we have a podcast and videos about that, but in Portuguese. Sorry.
Yeah.
For now. But it's a good point to start learn Portuguese.
yeah. As our guest.
Yeah, our guest. Yeah. Well, so let's call our guest.
Yay, come on, Erin.
Okay, Erin, come with us. So, thank you very much for giving us this opportunity to talk to you about points that are very important to the Brazilian community and our audience. I'm very excited to get this chance to have you here with us. I'm very happy. Thank you so much, Erin.
Well, thank you, Rodrigo and Rafael.
And before we start, maybe someone here in Brazil doesn't know you. Could you please introduce yourself quickly to open our chat?
Yeah, so I highly doubt too many people know me in Brazil, but I am Dr. Erin Baker. Erin is fine. And I am a former tech employee. So I was in the user experience world at Facebook and Microsoft for many years, was a leader at both those places. And I have a PhD in social psychology, so I'm really obsessed with understanding the human experience. And 4 years ago, I decided to leave my corporate role and start my own coaching business. And so I've coached anywhere from leaders in tech to small business owners. And I really focus these days on helping people find joy in their work and really understanding that joy is a much deeper emotion than we understand. And I recently published a book called Joyful AF. For Brazilians, AF is an English phrase for as fuck. It's a swear word. So it's all about how do we understand what joy is and how do we build it into our work lives. So that's really me in a nutshell. I'm all about joy these days.
Nice. No have problem because we have subtitles here and
yes,
we will translate this word by word.
The F word.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's the F word. And I do say in the book, I don't actually spell out the word. I put stars in the middle. So
Yeah, I saw that.
yeah. Yeah.
Perfect. And can you give a hint for us to start here about what it means to be joyful? To start, just to start.
Yes. Yes. Well, I'll start with saying it's a very misunderstood emotion, joy. We talk about happiness, joy, fun, play. And a lot of people can confuse happiness with joy, and they're not the same thing. So, happiness is usually something that comes from an external circumstance. You get a promotion at work, you buy a new house, you get married. You know, something happens in the world that causes happiness. And the thing that's tricky about happiness is it's fleeting. You know, you get this little momentary spike of excitement. I got the promotion. Yay, yay, yay. And then all of a sudden you kind of go back into the low. Where joy is something that's more within you. You don't have to have, the external world doesn't have to do anything for you to feel joy. And it comes from within your body, really. Most people I talk to about joy, I've done a lot of, informal research, say that they feel it in certain places in their body, where happiness kind of feels like a head thing. So being joyful is really, in my mind, about how can you be fully connected to who you are as a person and what lights you up? And how do you work with your unique strengths? Because think about when you're in flow, that's joyful, right? And when you're in flow, you're doing what you're best at. And being joyful is being curious. It's being creative. It's even being courageous. We need to have a challenge in our lives in order to feel satisfied. So joyful is all these different things. And it really comes back to, in my mind, how do you go do things your way from a place of what you care about and who you are and how you tick. I'm a social psychologist, right? So I really care about how people work.
Yeah, it's more like I don't know. You can correct me, but more like to feel complete, to feel more connected with myself, and to have more knowledge about myself, and
Yes.
not to connect with the exterior or the other person, but to feel better with myself. It's
not connect with things, but yourself.
Right.
Something like that.
Yeah. And you can have connection. I think about connection. I write about this in my book. There's a really famous book in the United States called Salt, Fat, Acid, and Heat. And it's all about the 4 elements of good cooking. So I think connection, curiosity, creativity, and courage are like salt, fat, acid, and heat. And connection's like salt, because salt's in everything, right? And it has its own unique flavor, but it also enhances other flavors of thing. And so I think of connection being mostly about you, but you can also feel connected. You can have a joyful experience in connection with other people. People feel joyful when they feel connected to that sort of greater sense of the universe, religion, spirituality, right? But I think what you're saying, Rodrigo, it's not connection to external things, right? Rewards, houses, cars, things like that. It's a very deep human connection.
Yes, exactly. That's the point. It's something continuous, right? Not just in the moment. It's something huge to work with yourself.
Yes. And you can go inward at any point and feel it, right? So happiness, when we talk about, really depends on the external world. You've got to wait for something good to happen for you to be happy. But for joy, you don't have to wait. You can do it right now.
Yes. And I like to know your point of view. We have a universe or things. And when you talk about UX, a universe of courses, chips, books, videos, and everything to prepare you to be a successful person, an outstanding professional, and a good strategy for it to work.
A successful professional, not person. In this case.
You're right.
Right.
Yes. But at the same time, you have a much more anxious and emotionally sick world. And what do you think about this pressure of success, prestige, to follow in someone else's footsteps to reach the expected goal? What do you think?
That is stealing our joy. That is a huge, huge thing. And I talk a lot about, the societal pressure to it's perform, right? It's a very capitalist way of seeing things, that your worth is based on how much you produce and how much you can, move up whatever ladder you're in the professional world, right? And so a lot of people are chasing those external markers of success, whether it's the promotions, the accolades, the recognition. And as they're doing that, they're miserable because they're constantly looking outside and looking at what are other people expecting of me? How am I supposed to do this? What's the blueprint so that I can show everybody that I'm a worthwhile professional, I'm a worthwhile human being. And so they're not experiencing joy. And I will say that was my story in the UX world, especially when I worked at Facebook. I was desperate to prove my worth, and I wanted to move up that leadership ladder as quickly as possible. And I was surrounded by some of the most brilliant people I've ever met. So I'm constantly at that point looking around at what are my colleagues doing? How can I beat them? How can what does that next level of success looks like? What are the expectations? Let me check all the boxes. And I was miserable. And it felt like I was, swimming up from the bottom of the ocean and, trying to catch air. And I didn't know what joy was because I was never asking myself, okay, well, how do I want to grow as a professional? What's important to me? What's the trajectory that will light me up? And it was really after I got off that ladder and started my business that I actually was able to ask myself, well, wait, what is a joyful professional path?
Yeah, this is a very strong subject. And what is the criticism and impact can you already see from your work and book on the industries? Can you see something?
I haven't seen it yet. I mean, the book just came out 2 weeks ago. So, and I will be very honest. I wrote it more for small business owners because that's who I primarily work with these days. But I have colleagues from the UX world who are reading it, and they say that it is impacting how they think about their work. And I haven't had a good chance to talk to them yet about, well, what is it specifically that you see as important here? But I do know that the few clients I've worked with on joy, they show up to work with more energy, for one. They have more fun in what they're doing. I've had a couple of clients change roles because once they started actually looking at what they were good at and what light them up, they started making an impact in a way that the organization said, wait a sec, we need to have you do this other thing. And they were having more responsibility and more projects because they weren't worried about what they were supposed to do. They were not worried. They were asking themselves, what is joyful for me? What are my strengths here? And so I think and then with the business owners I work with, they think they want more money, more revenue, all that stuff. And what they learn is that stuff comes naturally when they follow their joy. Because people want to work with them, or they have great ideas, they're innovative, they're creative, they're charismatic. When people are joyful, the work comes, whatever that work is.
Buriti, ask your questions. If not, I will keep.
No. Yeah. You can continue, but no, yeah. But I was thinking about this subject because I think we are living this new area or moment when we feel free to can question some things, some beliefs, some things, especially about the work, about the work life. Mm-hmm. This, I don't know, but my parents, they weren't used to talk about happiness or joyful about the work. They didn't connect these because they just work.
Right.
And now it's more it's more present in our lives, I suppose. And I don't know, but what do you think was the motivation for this changing paradigm in the industry? This opening to discuss these things.
Yeah, well, I think the rate of technology and innovation, there's a lot of those basic jobs that were being taken care of by older generations are automated, right? And there's just a lot more opportunity and a lot more jobs. I also think we have a more globalized society, right? So, my parents were probably some of the first generation of parents that didn't stay in their hometown. And so now we're mobile. Now there's more opportunity. We don't have to take a particular job. And so I think there's been a shift. And I think we've also, as younger folks, at least my generation, watched our parents be miserable. And we've seen the impact of our miserable parents on our upbringing. And so we don't want that. But it's really easy because society is so wired towards, be on that professional path, get that promotion, become a leader, whatever it is, that we still struggle to find ways to be joyful in our work. It's a tension. I see people wanting the joy and feeling themselves unable to find it because of the pressures.
Yeah, of course. And how much do you think it is can impact our work, especially as designers, as UX designers, this new perspective of work?
Well, so my three, thinking about the three ingredients of joy that I haven't talked about too much: curiosity, creativity, and courage. I mean, those are three things that I think designers really need to have, right? And curiosity about exploration, creativity in their design, courage to take risks in their design and to push back on, stakeholders when they really have good ideas. So I think, finding the joy sometimes, I think, at least the experience I've had with designers is when you're working within, say, a tech company, you get sort of locked into, okay, this is the design principles. Here's all of the elements. We have our toolkit, right? And it gets kind of routinized, and we lose, not we, I'm not a designer, I was a researcher, but my team, I would see, would lose that creative spark. It would just be, moving things around. And I think the joy is coming back to, what if we break some rules? What if we break down paradigms? What if we push ideas here and play? And I think that the designers I know were all artists before, and art is a much more free and creative, I don't know, not all designers necessarily, but a lot of the ones I knew, and then they're feeling stifled by the structure of the UX world. How do you bring that play back into your work? How do you feel playful when you're trying to figure out the color of a button or an information architecture, right?
It's a kind of to put more, I don't know, purpose in what do you mean, what do you do every time, no matter what do you do. Yeah. The button or all the product or to talk with someone, to listen someone, all things that need to be, to have this purpose. It is the joyful for designers in this case.
Yeah. I mean, just asking, what can I get curious about today? Curiosity is such a joyful thing. And, it might be curious about the design. It might be curious about what the user needs. It might be curious about what the stakeholders want. How can I create something today? What's one tiny act of courage I can have today? Those are all joyful things for designers to take on, for sure.
Great.
And then finding, what are some opportunities to be in what's considered flow? How do you set up white space and time for, being in that I lost time because I was doing something? And maybe that's at work, maybe that's at home, but I think it's really important for people who are creators to spend time with white space and creation.
Yeah. We spoke with Mark Kagan, and he said what is lacking in product is caring more about people. Now you connect us with the importance of people finding their joy. I think it's very, very special to bring for people, right? That kind of message for leadership also.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Joy will create innovation to me, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, the spirit of joy can create this innovation or this ambient of innovation. Yeah.
And I think it's important. I think it's really hard to do in the corporate structure, but I also think it's really important to connect with each individual contributor and leader and find out what are the things that bring you joy. Not everybody is really good at information architecture. Not everybody's good at illustration. That's and figuring out how can we get people. There's a lot of call for generalization, I think, and specialization can be really helpful. I mean, maybe you have to be a generalist 80% of the time, but maybe 20% of the time we can put you on that thing that lights you really up, and that is enough, right, to help you feel joyful in most of your work.
But this new perspective, Erin, will probably change our perspective about planning our career, I suppose. And of course, it needs to plan something because some people just don't want to or don't like to even think about plan about career. And do you think it's possible to find this joyful in your career without to plan about this?
In a freestyle.
I think either one works. One of the things that's my favorite joyful concept is this idea of high intentions and low attachment. And so I can tell you with certainty that I could have never predicted my career path, no matter how many 5-year plans I wrote out and thought about. And if I had actually stuck to any of my 5-year plans, it wouldn't have been as exciting and interesting. So the idea is I have high intentions towards where I'm going, whether that's a career plan or a goal I have, but then I have low attachment to if I get there, when I get there, or how I get there. So if you imagine, one of the metaphors I like is if you're, okay, my goal is to get to the moon. Well, if you have high intentions to get to the moon, but low attachment to get there, maybe as you're going, you realize that if you take just a little bit of a sidestep, you'll go to Mars, which is way cooler and further. Or you might see a road sign in the atmosphere that says, oh, there's an International Space Station over here and there's a big party going on. Maybe you don't want to go to the moon while we're going to be all by yourself. Or maybe it'll just be cool to hang out in the atmosphere, right? So you can either fly by the seat of your pants and not have plans, or having these high intentions and low attachments means I have a plan, but I'm willing to not stick to it. I'm willing to see what comes along the way. And when I hit a roadblock, I can go back to that curiosity. Okay, I'm curious what I might do right now. Do I want to keep going on this path? If so, how? Do I want to go somewhere else? You can get creative. Okay, if I do want to keep going on this path, what's the creative way to get over this hump? Or, well, I don't want to go on this path. Okay, how can I creatively think of new options? And then courage to take risks along the way to try new things, right? So I am a big fan of both people having a plan and people not having a plan. But the only thing is when you're too stuck to a plan, you can lose the joy because you get blinders on. So high intentions and low attachment allows you to have a plan and also weave with the world, right? COVID was a big monkey wrench in a lot of 5-year plans, right? And a lot of people really struggled, but the people who had high intention and low attachment were able to say, okay, how do I move with this? How do I ebb and flow with this?
Yeah, everyone has the freedom to choose and innovate their own life, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think
you can design your own life, right?
Exactly.
There's design principles for your own life.
Exactly.
And experiment. That's one of my other big ones. We experiment like crazy in the product world. Why don't we turn it on ourselves and turn our lives into experiments? Okay, I'm going to A/B test this thing. Why not?
Yeah. And I'd like to change the path of our conversation a little. Mm-hmm. Can I?
I love it. Yes. I love when we go off high intentions toward a conversation and low attachment to where it goes.
Okay, let's go. So you come with a lot of academic baggage. and experience. And
Yeah.
we always like to link the academic vision's importance to the industry. But at least here in Brazil, in our way, there is a distance between both academic studies and industry action. And we have already here that this distance is essential to keep the separate lines of vision and research being a symbiosis. So what do you think of this relationship? Should it be close or far away with caution? What are your thoughts?
Oh, I think they need to be much more integrated. As someone who worked, so I left academia to go to Facebook, and I was at the time, I know Facebook has changed. I left 5 years ago at this point, so it's a very different company, but I was baffled at the time by how little the academic understanding of how humans work was being incorporated into product strategy and visioning. And, you know, there were some product managers and engineers who were hungry for us to bring that. So those of us who were academics did bring that knowledge, but it was not a widespread adopted thing. And so it felt at times like innovation that was going to affect billions of humans was not taking into account what research knew about humans. On the other side, my dissertation in grad school, I did an experiment where I got students to donate money to a children's shelter. And it was a great experiment. I went to the children's shelter to tell them about it, and they said, "Oh, that's nice. That doesn't apply here. You know, we don't look for $20 donations. We go for thousands of dollars donations." So there was a way in which my academic side didn't know how to design an experiment that had a real world application. So all of the knowledge I was gathering wasn't necessarily translatable to the real world. In the meantime, the real world is not looking at the academics and looking at, well, what do they know that's useful? And so I think there's that gap is a real problem. I don't think it's the charge of academics to innovate, but I think they need to help create knowledge that's applicable. And I think the industry really needs to guide academics on what are some of the challenges that are being faced that can be studied from a research perspective.
Yeah, this is an interesting point because it's a huge challenge for us. And my point is, how can we leaders and professionals help in this connection day to day within companies? Because I think here in Brazil, like I said, we have this lack, and they try to keep distance. But your point is very interesting because they need to be together, working together. And we can see that in the United States. But here we have a huge challenge, right, Rafael?
Yeah, especially because we have a kind of pure of the spirit of the academic way, like, the business will come here and make it make us dirty and and broke our spirit, and I don't know, but at the same time, the business needs to understand the time of the academic way too, because not so fast to test something in academic.
Right.
Not so not easier to make this.
Yeah.
It's very difficult, And I have seen the difficult of the professionals who work or who study or who test in academic life, bring to the market, the industry, and they, I don't know, they are suffering and they are a little sad too.
Because, it makes sense.
Yeah, because they faced a totally different world.
Yes.
Not so I don't know, peaceful world or people waiting for something. They are more hungry for results. It's
yes,
so difficult to make here. But how do you think this perspective of joyful can help these professionals? Because I suppose this professional is looking for this happiness, this joyfulness in the industry too.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of ways that corporations can help. I get that struggle of the academic going into the corporate world. I was that person, and many of my colleagues were that person. And what you say is so true. Everything is faster. The work in the industry isn't as experimentally or scientifically rigorous, and so there's a shift there. There's a little academic freedom where you get to study more of what you want, whereas the industry has a particular outcome they want. They have a product they want to get on the market. So I think, for those professionals, joy is, how do you keep them connected to their academic roots? How do they get to stay in touch with former colleagues, go to conferences? How do they become the conduit of knowledge, from the different spheres? And then, I think companies can really benefit from some employees having some academic freedom, being able to one of the things I liked the most at Facebook was, if I saw a research question that wasn't being answered and I could make a case for why we needed to do that, we would go study it. So I would find what's something joyful for me that I'm curious about, right? That I also see a need for. And having that space meant that I wasn't just, as a researcher or as a research leader, being told what to do. I was actually contributing almost in the way I would have in academia through my own ideas. So I think the more in any role, a company can allow people to have the space to contribute their own ideas to what's happening and play and have white space, I think that will bring more joy and keeping them connected to what's important to them. I think Facebook did a fantastic job, at least when I was there, of keeping the academics still connected to academia.
Yeah, you brought a great point for us, because I think we have this, of course, this point of view where the people need to achieve this joyfulness without to look for the exterior, for the other people. But we have other people around us. Sometimes making this search for the joyfulness more difficult. Sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we need to create this balance. But you said about the company. The company need to create a kind of ambient to possibilitate this, but as leaders, for the leaders, specifically for the leaders has this not power, because I don't like this word for this, but this role in this equation. Mission. It's more hard thing, but they have this role, this possibility to help the team to achieve this joyfulness. Do you think it's possible? Do you think it's an obligation? How do you see this?
I think it's necessary. The way I think about joy, whether it's a company of one person or a company of thousands, is if you and your team are not joyful, you are not going to accomplish whatever you want to accomplish in your business. And it's not a long-term, misery is not a long-term strategy. So it really pays off to figure out what creates joy for each of your employees. And I want to be clear. I'm not saying you have to be joyful all the time. I mean, that would be what we call in the US toxic positivity. But even just finding a little more ounce of joy, right? And, whether it's, 10% of the time, 20% of the time, whatever it is, to expand on that. And then, as a leader, it's, how can you bring your team more joy? And it's partially in helping them be in roles that are really tailoring to their strengths. It's giving them creative freedom. It's giving them ability to contribute ideas rather than a top-down mandate. It's also, taking time for, team connection and community building. That's such a different challenge now, since COVID has made a lot more companies remote. How do you help people feel connected to each other? Because sometimes the joy is not in the we're heads down trying to get a product design and out, and that work isn't fun, but I'm sitting next to a colleague that it brings me joy. And so I feel joyful in that process, right?
Yeah, when you talking, I just can remember the Pixar movie Inside Out, because it's about that. It's about
Yes.
to create this balance of
Yes.
because we, of course, we do not want to have a sadness team,
Right,
all the time, everything and everyone is sad, complaining and everything, but everything happy all the time is a little weird too.
Yes.
And we need to create this balance, because the fails can create the achievements after that. And it's a powerful thing.
And joy is we can experience joy with a whole lot of different emotions. We talk about, well, we can have joy and sorrow, joy and grief, right? And there is joy sometimes in failure. Maybe you don't see it as that in the moment because it hurts, but there's the joy of experiencing the full range of the human emotions. And so when people say, oh, I don't know about joy because it seems just all about positivity, I said, no, part of being joyful is experiencing all the emotions and allowing yourself to have all of the emotions, and joy can be along for the ride on all of them.
Yeah. To be able to handle with all these emotions is a motivation to be joyful, I suppose, can lead with that, deal with that.
Yeah, and I will say, I can imagine you both have experienced this. I'm sure your listeners have as well. But I can think of a time where I was sitting with a client and we were talking about an incredibly painful thing that was happening in their personal life, and I felt immense joy that I got to hold space for that person's pain, even though it was a sad thing. And I imagine you both and your listeners have also experienced times where you are in the midst of something awful, whatever it is, but somehow you feel joy. So joy is this really beautiful thing because you can experience it in so many different situations.
Yeah. And can I say that joy is connected with maturity?
It might be. It might be. I think the more we age, the more we learned that the outside world doesn't matter as much as the inside world.
I see.
Right. And I think I hear this all the time from people who say, oh, yeah, once I hit my 40s, I didn't care what other people thought of me anymore. Right. That kind of thing. And so, yeah, you think when you're 18, oh, my God, what people think of me matters. And so all of that chasing worth. Yeah, I see it. And I see it in, the tech company being skewed younger, tech world, right? There's a lot of that like 20-year-old prove yourself energy. And when I worked at Microsoft, I worked with actually a little older demographic. I could just see, oh, this company operates very differently based on the fact that more people are just sort of secure in themselves and don't have to prove anything.
Yeah, I suppose it's more connected with the ability to understanding what really matter, not
and to be open, right? To be open.
This guy make me sad at this moment, but who cares about that now and tomorrow? Okay, I will pass for this. I don't know. Great. Yeah, I enjoyed so much.
Erin, I could talk and listen to you for hours. It feels like we are friends in a bar having a conversation with friends.
We are, and I'm thinking, when do I get to come down to Brazil? I've been to South America, but I have not been to Brazil yet. So I'd have to learn a little bit of Portuguese. I don't think my Spanish would fly, but
we can try Spanish.
Sometimes can work. Sometimes can work.
Yeah.
Well, I love meeting you and having this chance.
Yes, me too.
Was amazing. And how can people follow you and talk to you?
Yes. So I will say, if you're interested in reading the book, Joyful AF is available internationally on Amazon. So make sure you type in joy-full, because I have a very different interpretation of joyfulness. And then if you want to talk to me directly, you can find me on my website. So erinmbaker.com. The M is important. And on Instagram, I'm at Dr. Erin M. Baker.
We'll put a link to your website for people in your description here,
Yep.
and
Yep.
to people follow you and learn more
Yes.
about your book.
Yes,
Buy the book.
Yes, please. Yes, and I will say it's in English, but someday I would love to have it translated into multiple languages.
No, but it's good because we're recording this kind of content because we are make this possible for other person, and we will have subtitles. But
yes,
for these people to have interesting to learn the English language too, and it's very important. And I suppose no, I'm sure they will have this curiosity to read your book, because I am curious about your book too. Yeah.
Yes.
I were and I am now.
Yes. Well, and I'm curious because like I said, I wrote it mostly towards small business owners. I'd be really curious once you've read it to hear what are the ways you see this applying to the UX world, because I'm still very passionate about UX and very connected to that world, even though I left it a few years back.
No, I will let you know.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, I'm sorry for questions or English.
Your English was great. This has been super fun. It was a great Friday evening chat.
Oh yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for our teacher.
Yes. And thank you for your patience and good content for us. Thank you so much for this time.
You're welcome.
Perfect. So that's it.
Yay! I hope that was a good conversation. Oh, I see you got tattoos. I want to see your tattoo. Oh, wow.
He's a nerd.
My Millennium Falcon. And my sonic screwdriver from Doctor Who.
I can tell what your interests are.
Yeah, but I have others. I have my favorite character, my Superman. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, my wife's call me I don't know how can I sketch man. It's a kind of sketch man. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you're Hoffman or sketch man, but something like that.
That's fine. I think tattoo. I'm hoping to get my second one soon, so I'm a big fan.
Oh, when we start, you cannot stop.
Yeah, I have one. I have I don't think you can see it very well, but I have Orion, the constellation Orion, on my arm.
Yeah.
And the next one will be there's a lake that I spend a lot of time on, and I want to do the depth chart. So, you know, how deep it is in each part of the lake. So it's little lines, like a topographical map almost of a lake.
It's very, very important. My first is that.
Nice.
Yeah, it's I'm a nerd. It's a Kryptonian language.
Yep.
From Superman. Yeah.
Yep.
And now I have 16, I suppose.
Oh, wow. It's not a good number.
Yeah, and I am looking. Yeah, because you will know, but the tattoos need to be I forgot the word in English, but odds.
Yeah. Yes.
They need to be odds, and I'm looking for in Portugal, because I am living in Portugal, and I'm looking for a good place to make my new one.
Porto is one of my favorite places I've ever visited, so I'm a little jealous.
Very, very beautiful. Very beautiful.
Yes.
Perfect. Great. And okay, so thank you very much. I invite you to come back again sometime.
Yes, please. Yeah, anytime. I love talking about this stuff.
Perfect. We will read your book and we'll invite you again to speak about that.
Yes.
Okay, that sounds great.
Perfect. Erin, again. Thank you very much.
Erin.
Thank you so much. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Wow. Rafael, always I ask you, what do you think about our conversation?
I think I discovered my name is easier to say in English, more easy than you.
Rafael.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rafael. Yeah. Rodrigo, it's not so easy.
A little difficult. Yeah, maybe because DR, it's a little difficult.
Yeah, but Rafa, it's a Rafa.
Yeah, like the Ninja Turtle.
But not Burichi.
yeah. I would like to listen our guests saying buriti. It's like a buritai, like something
Yeah,
like
the
that.
next one. Let's ask for our next guest to speak
Because my
Buriti.
buriti is my surname.
Yeah.
But it's a kind of my main name. But it's okay. I discovered that.
Going
I'm
back
joking.
to the subject.
Yeah, I'm
please.
joking. But I like it. I like because the Erin is very kind, and the conversation was very good.
Yeah. Like
The
I
most
said,
important for me, what's very pleasant to talk with them.
yeah, I agree with you. Like I said, my feelings is, oh, Erin's my friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bar conversation about life, joy.
Yeah, but Erin has this background of psychology, and I don't
Yeah.
know, maybe it's a kind of
Oh, no,
observation, understand
come on.
us.
Joke. It's a
Yeah,
joke. Oh,
I love it. I love it.
I liked our conversation. I think Erin brought a lot of good points when we
Yes.
talking about people again,
Yeah.
right? Life, people.
Interesting points. Controversial, maybe. Controversial when we use the term joy and these things in our industry. It's a little controversial to use these terms. Not so common or easy to talk about it. And I like it because the Erin brought us this in a easy way, not so complex.
Yeah.
It was simple for me. I don't know, but simple to understand what
Tell
it means.
us
Yeah.
if you are watching us, what do you think? It's complex or simple to understand?
Yeah. Put your comment here about this.
Write your comments.
I don't know, with a question, with your point of view. Let us know about your I don't know, your point of view, your learn something
and
about that.
how for you it's your mission to try to find your joy. This is very important. And try to read the Erin's book. I think it will be a great experience. I don't know how much it is yet. I have to see in Amazon for us Brazilian here.
Yes, yeah. I bought the book and
you bought?
Yeah, the digital.
The digital version, the Kindle version.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah. Perfect. I'm not.
I have entering in this world with more dedication to read all my books in
Kindle.
in digital format.
Oh,
And we can.
sustainable.
Not sustainable because
the
I
Kindle.
moved to here and I have this difficult. My physical books still in Brazil, waiting to come here. And I decided I will buy these books in digital way. Here is my Kindle.
Okay, nice. So you can tell me after your experience what you think about the book.
Yeah, I don't know when I will read this. Yeah, because I was talking with my wife today. I am in I think in the best moment of my reader life because I am reading 5 books
at the same time.
At the same time, it's not so common to me because I used to read just one. A little quick, but just one. And now I'm reading.
I was there. I was like you. I read 5 books at the same time, but I gave up of this life. Now it's just one per time.
Yeah, of course they are different subjects. So I am reading 2 of fictional histories and 3 of technical things about design, leadership. So not the same subject. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, what do you think about our conversation with Erin? Tell us again, right?
Please.
Send us your feedback.
Yeah.
It's very important to know because I think, like we said, Erin brought a lot of points here about life experience, challenges, and I like to know what you think about it. And like this video, share this video, sharing social network, please, because it's very important.
Yeah,
and
help us to reach other person, other space, not just for designers. Product persons, tech persons. Help us to reach other person with our content, because our content is totally free for you and for anyone.
Yeah, and who wanna be your sponsor? I'm looking for a sponsor here.
yeah. Maybe Amazon with Kindle. But
with Mark Kagan was GoPro. Now Amazon.
Okay. About the book, I took a look here, and if you have Kindle Unlimited, the book is free, and you can
I have.
But for the Brazilian Amazon, I don't know. Let me see in the American website. No, I suppose not, but it's okay, 99 cents. Not so digital format. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And if you like it, you can do like me. I read in the digital format, and if I like it so much, the book, I usually buy the physical thing too. I made this. I made this with the AV covered book.
Yeah, in Brazilian real, it's $5. $5.
Yeah,
so it's not so expensive. So you can buy in Brazilian real. But I think in dollar will be a nice price also. So
yeah, totally, 99 cents.
Yeah.
And I would like, if you read this book, you can send to Erin your feedback. Tell them about us. Oh, I know you. I knew you
in the Good Morning UX. I saw your show there, your presentation there, and now I'm reading your book, and this is my feedback for you. Yes, good idea. Good point. Yeah. So that's it. Go ahead and stay.
Good night. Good morning.
Stay with
good
us.
Evening. I don't know.
Stay with us, and I see you in the next episode of Good Morning UX. So, bye-bye.